Hello, Todd Frizzell here, and I am here to do a very special DVD review of CZW's latest DVD release, Cage of Death 12, which took place on December the 11th, 2010, from the Asylum Arena, the sold-out Asylum Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And one thing about the Asylum Arena on this night, it was packed. I mean, I've heard people say this was the most packed this building's been for CZW since Cage of Death 3, when they had to turn away hundreds and hundreds of fans from the show. So this was completely sold out to the doors here, standing room only for sure, and I heard they had to turn away some people as well. So there was nearly 1,500 fans here, sold out. So it was a great atmosphere. The crowd was really electric, and we started off with a best of the best qualifier, and this will determine who will go on to compete in Best of the Best 10. This match featured Alex Colon, Rich Swann, Jonathan Gresham, Ryan McBride, Akuma, and Ruckus. And basically, this was a pretty good match. And here's the thing I liked about this. An opener is very important, obviously, because it sets the pacing for entire shows. And you want a hot opener, but you don't want an opener which includes every spot in the book, because then you're going to kill the crowd. And I noticed that happened at Cage of Death 10, for example. They did the Sky's the Limit ladder match for the Junior Heavyweight Championship first. They hit every move in the book, and the crowd was pretty much dead for the rest of the evening until the actual Cage of Death match itself, when they came back alive. So you don't want to do a match that's going to leave nothing to be desired right off the bat. But this match right here, this scramble, was very entertaining. Again, like I said, it wasn't overdone, so it was definitely a good way to amp up the crowd without killing the crowd. So a great balance here. I'd probably say the MVPs of this match had to be Ryan McBride, Ruckus, who looked very smooth here, and Akuma looked decent. Not the best I've ever seen him work, but he looked pretty good. Rich Swann was pretty cool here too. And Gresham and Colon also played their part. Pretty much everyone in this match played their part. And all did a wonderful job holding this thing together and keeping it going. A few dives to the outside. Went about 7 minutes here. I'm not going to reveal the winner of the match for those of you who want to pick up the DVD, but overall I'd probably give it about 2 3/4 stars. Then we move on to the CZW Junior Heavyweight Championship match. AR Fox against the heel Junior Heavyweight Champion, Adam Cole. Adam Cole now a heel. I really like his heel gimmick, along with his valet. I do not recall her name right now, but I will have to go ahead and check on that. I'm really bad at pronouncing those kind of names, and it takes me a while to catch on with that. She is Oriental, so it's a hard name to pronounce. But regardless, he comes out. He's a pompous. He reminds me of a Brian Kendrick from WWE or a early day Shawn Michaels. Very pompous boy toy type of character, which I really like. He really played it off well. This is definitely a future superstar here in Adam Cole. These two had a really good 10-minute match. A few wonderful dives to the outside. Mr. Fox hit one of his amazing slice bread number 2s on the ring apron, and also a assisted moonsault off the ring post, which was very cool. Very fast-paced match, full of all kinds of spots and great wrestling action, great junior heavyweight action. And one thing I'd really like to point out is this match also had phenomenal psychology in here as well. So I really enjoyed that too. And then we move on to, well, I don't know if I want to mention this, but something happens after the match. I'm not going to tell you who won the match. I don't want to spoil it for you guys who haven't seen the show yet, but something happens after the match which leads to another Junior Heavyweight Championship match after that, where Drew Gulak cashes in. And I'm not going to tell you... Oh, I'm sorry, not Drew Gulak. It was actually Adam Cole's former tag team partner, Tyler Veritas, and he cashes in his Junior Heavyweight Championship shot. I'm not going to tell you against who, because that would spoil things, but they went on with that, and they went on for about 5 minutes there, and it wasn't really much of anything. It was too short to really be rated, but it was definitely something that's going to set up a feud in the future regarding the CZW Junior Heavyweight Championship. So as far as the match between Adam Cole and Era Fox goes, I'd give it a solid 3 stars. In the match after that took place, it was about a 2-star match. So if you combine both matches into a segment, I'd probably give it about 3.5 stars here. Then we had the CZW Tag Team Tournament Finals as Philly's Most Wanted of Sabian and Joker took on the Osirian Portal. Very, very good match here. It started a little sloppy at first. There was a few blown spots, a few mishaps. But after a while, things really, really, really picked up, and they got really good. There was a spot where the Osirian Portal hit stereo 450 splashes simultaneously, so that really got the crowd off their feet to a tremendous near fall there. And there was a lot of dives at the outside. Again, it started a little slow, but I did enjoy the psychology. And there was a few comedy skits with the Osirian Portal, which was really hilarious. But overall, this was about 15 minutes here and very action-packed. I would go ahead and give it 3.25 stars. I really liked it. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but a CZW Tag Team of the Past actually came out at the end there. And then the next match, this match was actually before that match. I just kind of mixed up the order here, but it was the CZW World Title #1 Contenders match between Sami Callihan and the Ego Robert Anthony. Phenomenal, phenomenal match here. This exceeded all expectations. This was a great match. It went about 20 minutes long. There was tons of false finishes in the end, which had the crowd really, really going crazy. And CZW's really been stepping up their game lately. I'm very impressed. I've always been a fan, and I'm a fan of CZW now more than ever. I really, really was impressed by what they did here, because what they did was just a match more along the lines of Ring of Honor. Not too much mat-based stuff. They kept it fast-paced and entertaining for the fans, but it was more of a Ring of Honor style match, in which there was tons of great wrestling action and near falls there in the end, which really got the fans on their feet and going crazy. And, CZW at one point didn't have too much of that, where the fans would be going crazy like that when there's no ultraviolence involved. So I was very impressed here. Phenomenal, phenomenal match. 3.75 stars. Then we went ahead and we saw the CZW World Heavyweight Championship match. And this was between Homicide and Jon Moxley. Not that great here. The crowd was getting a little less energetic at this point. They weren't that into this match. They weren't really into Homicide. He got pretty much a mixed reaction, and Moxley was pretty much cheered, but sort of a mixed reaction as well. So the crowd wasn't really into this. There wasn't too much of a storyline put into it. But the two went at it for about 10 minutes. It was decent action, nothing special. I would have expected a little more for a CZW World Heavyweight Championship match, but it is what it is. It was what it was. It wasn't disappointing. I mean, people weren't chanting boring or anything like that. A decent amount of psychology involved here. A nice spot where Homicide hit a cutter and then Moxley popped up and hit one of his own. And there was also a few more nice spots there in the end where Homicide hit the Gringo Killer, or the Cop Killer, and Moxley kicked out for a near fall. Again, not going to tell you the victor of the match. Is there a new CZW World Heavyweight Champion? You're going to have to buy the DVD at czwrestling.com, where you'll actually be redirected to smartmarkvideo.com, where you can purchase the DVD, or you can get it at High Spots or RF Video. But nevertheless, we move on to the Ultraviolent Underground Championship match. Big Japan Pro Wrestling's Yuko Miyamoto versus CZW's Nick Gage. Drew Gulak was the special ref here, and Nick Gage ended up giving him a chokeslam backbreaker because he wasn't going to let him use any weapons. Then they went at it Ultraviolent style. Decent Ultraviolent match here. A few barbed wire spots. A nice balcony spot where Miyamoto took a back bump off the balcony through a table, and then hit a nice, gigantic, extremely jaw-dropping spot where he did a moonsault off a 20-foot ladder. So I think they could have done a little bit more. It wasn't that ultra-violent, but overall it was very good, and I'd give it 3.5 stars. We move on to the Cage of Death match, Cult Fiction against the Suicide Kings. Definitely not the best Cage of Death of all time, but definitely satisfactory. It seemed like there was just spots. There could have been a little more psychology involved, but a nice war game type of match here. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but there was 3 or 4 bumps off the top of the cage through some tables and barbed wire boards, some nice glass spots and such. Oh, and a nice return at the end, a return of a CZW original. 3.5 stars here. Overall, I'd give the show an 8 out of 10. Very entertaining and best CZW show in a while.